What's going on, Browns Nation? If you thought this season couldn't get any more intense, buckle up, because Myles Garrett just said what we've all been thinking, and trust me, you're going to want to hear this. The frustration is real, the stakes are higher than ever, and the future of this team might be hanging in the balance right now. But hey, if you're riding or dying with the dog pound no matter what, do me a solid and smash that subscribe button. Let's build this community together and show the world that Browns fans don't quit. Now, let's dive into what's really going on with our team. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Sitting at a disappointing record after that brutal 23-9 loss to Pittsburgh? That stings. That really stings. And it's not just about the numbers on the scoreboard anymore. It's about how we're losing these games. It's about watching our offense sputter and stall week after week while our defense is out there leaving everything on the field. And when Myles Garrett, one of the fiercest competitors in the entire league, steps up and starts calling it like he sees it, you better believe there's something serious brewing in that locker room. Here's what went down. After the Steelers game, Garrett didn't pull any punches. He looked frustrated, he sounded frustrated, and honestly, he had every right to be. Our offense threw the ball 52 times. 52 times. And you know what we got out of it? 0 touchdowns. Not one trip to the promised land. Dillon Gabriel, our rookie signal caller, completed just over half his passes for 221 yards, which honestly isn't terrible when you consider the pressure he's under. But here's the problem, we couldn't punch it in. We settled for field goals. We left points on the board. And worst of all, this has become our identity. 11 straight games without scoring more than 17 points. Let that sink in for a second. 11 games. That's not a slump, that's a crisis. And Garrett sees it. He wishes we would have committed to the run game more, and you know what? He's absolutely right. We only rushed for 65 yards on 17 attempts. That's barely over 3 yards per carry. You can't establish anything with those numbers. You can't keep a defense honest. You can't set up play action. You can't control the clock or the tempo. And when you've got young, hungry playmakers like Quinton Judkins and Dylan Sampson waiting to explode, why aren't we feeding them the rock? Garrett mentioned these guys specifically because he knows what they can do. He sees the potential. But for some reason, the play calling just isn't putting them in position to succeed. This isn't just about one bad game, though. This is systemic. This offense, which was supposed to be Kevin Stefanski's masterpiece, has become predictable and one-dimensional. We had high hopes when Gabriel stepped in. We wanted him to be that spark, that injection of energy and creativity we desperately needed. But it hasn't happened yet. And I'm not putting this all on a rookie quarterback. He's being thrown into an impossible situation. The system isn't working. The rhythm isn't there. The confidence is missing. And when you can't score touchdowns for 11 consecutive games, something is fundamentally broken. Now here's where Garrett's honesty really hit home. He talked about the frustration in that locker room, and you could see it in his eyes. This is a guy who's been named Defensive Player of the Year. This is a generational talent who shows up every single week ready to dominate. And he's tired of losing the same way over and over again. He said one win isn't going to cut it. He's not looking for moral victories or bright spots in garbage time. He wants consistency. He wants to win games. He wants that feeling of dominance that this franchise used to have. And honestly, can you blame him? But here's what really got me. Garrett took time to address the fans directly. He knows how passionate we are. He knows we've stuck with this team through decades of disappointment and heartbreak. He said the frustration we feel as fans doesn't even compare to what the players are going through when they're out there putting their bodies on the line every Sunday and still coming up short. That's real talk right there. That's leadership. That's a guy who understands what it means to wear that orange and brown. And get this, Garrett himself has been held without a sack for 3 straight weeks. For a player of his caliber, that's almost unheard of. He's still making an impact, still demanding double teams, still being a disruptive force, but he's not getting home. And he's not making excuses. Instead, he's pointing to a bigger issue. He's suggesting that maybe, just maybe, our offensive struggles are affecting the defense too. Think about it. When your offense can't stay on the field, when they can't sustain drives, when they're constantly going 3 and out, your defense gets gassed. They're out there way too long. The opposing offense gets more opportunities. It's a vicious cycle. And then there's the Joe Flacco situation. Remember when we traded him to Cincinnati? Everyone thought he was done, washed up, ready to hang it up. Well, guess what happened? He goes to the Bengals and immediately drops 342 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Steelers. The same Steelers team that just beat us. So what does that tell you? Either our system wasn't maximizing what Flacco could do, or we made a mistake letting him go when our offense clearly needs all the help it can get. Meanwhile, Gabriel is still trying to find his footing, and the clock is ticking on this season. The pressure is mounting on everyone. The coaching staff is under the microscope. The front office is getting heat. They made bold moves in the offseason, brought in new pieces, tried to reshape this team's identity. But right now, the results aren't there. The execution isn't there. The wins aren't there. And fans and analysts are starting to ask the tough questions. Is the play calling holding these young players back? Is the scheme outdated? Are we being too conservative or too aggressive at the wrong times? These are legitimate concerns that need answers, and they need them fast. But here's where things get interesting. We've got Miami coming to town, and somehow we're actually favored in this game. The Dolphins are struggling too, sitting at a rough record themselves, so this is a legitimate opportunity. This is the kind of game that can define a season. This is where we find out what this team is really made of. Do we have the mental toughness to bounce back? Can we establish that physical run-first identity that Garrett is calling for? Will Gabriel find his rhythm and start making the throws we know he's capable of? This game matters. Big time. The talent is absolutely there. We've got playmakers on both sides of the ball. We've got young guys who are hungry and eager to prove themselves. Judkins wants to show everyone he belongs. Samson wants to make his mark. Gabriel wants to silence the doubters. And Garrett? He just wants to win, period. But talent alone doesn't win games in this league. Execution wins games. Confidence wins games. Smart play calling and adaptability win games. And right now, we're lacking in all those areas. Garrett's leadership is going to be absolutely crucial moving forward. His voice carries weight in that locker room. When he speaks, people listen. And his willingness to be publicly honest about the team's struggles shows that he's not interested in making excuses or deflecting blame. He's holding everyone accountable, including himself. That's the kind of culture you need if you want to turn things around. That's the kind of mentality that separates contenders from pretenders. And before we go any further, if you're loving this breakdown and you want the algorithm to keep feeding you all the latest Browns news and analysis, hit that like button right now. Seriously, it takes 2 seconds and it helps Browns Breakout grow so we can keep bringing you this content. All right, let's keep rolling. So what needs to happen against Miami? First and foremost, we need to establish the run. I'm talking about feeding Judkins and Samson early and often. Let them set the tone. Let them soften up that defense. Once we get the ground game going, everything else opens up. Play action becomes deadly. Gabriel gets easier reads. The defense has to respect multiple threats. That's how you build a balanced, effective offense. That's how you score more than 17 points. Second, the coaching staff needs to get creative. We can't keep running the same predictable schemes and expecting different results. Move Gabriel around. Get him on the edge. Design some rollouts and bootlegs to get him out of the pocket and into space. Use motion and misdirection to create confusion. Trust your playmakers to make plays. Sometimes you've got to take risks to get rewards. Third, Gabriel needs to settle down and trust his instincts. Yeah, he's a rookie. Yeah, the pressure is immense. But he's got the arm talent and the athleticism to succeed in this league. He just needs reps and confidence. 1 or 2 big plays early in the game could be exactly what he needs to get rolling. And once he gets that swagger, watch out. The kid can play. And defensively, we need Garrett to get back to being the game wrecker we know he is. 3 weeks without a sack. That ends now. Whether it's scheme adjustments or just pure determination, number 95 needs to be in the backfield causing havoc. When he's at his best, he's unblockable. When he's dominating, it lifts the entire defense. They feed off his energy and intensity. Look, I get it. This season has been frustrating beyond belief. We had expectations. We had hope. We believed this could finally be the year. And watching it slip away week after week is painful. But here's the thing about being a Browns fan, we don't quit. We've been through worse. We've survived 0 to 16. We've endured years of mediocrity and dysfunction. And yet we're still here. Still passionate. Still believing that one day, it's all going to come together. This team needs to remember what it's playing for. They're playing for the dog pound. They're playing for a city that lives and breathes football. They're playing for all the fans who show up in the cold, who wear the colors with pride, who never stop believing no matter how dark it gets. That passion and loyalty deserve to be rewarded with effort, with heart, with a team that refuses to give up. Garrett gets it. He understands what this means to the city and the fans. That's why he's speaking up. That's why he's demanding more. That's why he's holding everyone accountable. And we need more players to follow his lead. We need more guys to step up and say enough is enough. We need the entire locker room to rally around each other and decide that they're going to fight for every yard, every point, every win. The Miami game is more than just another matchup on the schedule. It's a statement opportunity. It's a chance to show that we can overcome adversity. It's a moment to prove that we're not going to roll over and accept failure. Win this game convincingly, and suddenly the conversation changes. Suddenly there's momentum. Suddenly there's hope. But lose this game, especially at home against a team that's also struggling, and the season could spiral even further out of control. So here's what I want to know from all of you watching right now. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think we can turn this around? Are you still believing in Gabriel, or do you think we need to make a change? What adjustments do you want to see from the coaching staff? How do we fix this offense? I want to hear from you because this is our community and your voice matters. We're all in this together, riding the highs and the lows, celebrating the victories and enduring the defeats. This season isn't over. There's still time. There's still opportunity. But the window is closing fast, and the urgency needs to be through the roof. Every game from here on out is essentially a must-win if we want to stay relevant in this playoff race. The AFC is loaded with talent, and there's no room for error. We've got to execute. We've got to be disciplined. We've got to play with the kind of intensity and passion that reflects the fan base supporting us. Myles Garrett is leading by example, speaking truth, and demanding excellence. Now the rest of the team needs to follow. The coaches need to adjust. The players need to execute. And we as fans need to keep bringing that energy, that support, that unshakable belief that has defined Browns fans for generations. Because when this team finally puts it all together, when we finally break through and start winning the way we know we can, it's going to be that much sweeter because of everything we've been through. So stay locked in, Browns Nation. Keep the faith. Keep supporting this team. And keep coming back here for all the latest news, analysis, and breakdowns. We're going to ride this journey together, and when that breakthrough moment comes, we're all going to celebrate together. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Browns.